So good afternoon. I'm Elizabeth Havlicek, and I am a partner here at Steiner Lab, Vitaquant USA. And I'm thrilled to have this opportunity to be discussing a topic that is so important to so many health practitioners at this time. Our presenter today is Karen Cummings, and I'm going to let her go into the detail about her background and let her introduce herself. But I wanted to let you know that she has some very important and interesting information to share. I'm sure you're going to learn a lot today. If you have questions as the presentation goes along, feel free to put them in the, type them in the box, and we will get to as many of the questions as we can at the end of the presentation. So just to let you know a little bit about Vitaquant, we are Vitaquant products have been in Europe for 16 years. They are a very unique supplement from the standpoint that they are produced using activated water, grown with biodynamic principles, all natural active ingredients, and there's been over 5,000 practitioners that have been recommending the product for over 16 years. And we're proud to be able to present this webinar to you today. So let me turn this over to Karen for you.
Hello, thank you, Elizabeth. I'm so excited to be talking about this topic right now because first, I just love talking about this stuff, but also it's a really critical time right now for businesses, especially in the health space, to start considering this transition or expansion into virtual offerings. So a little bit about me. I am the founder and CEO of Radiant Marketing. And since its inception in 2015, we've focused heavily on the health and wellness industry and are really passionate both personally and professionally about connecting wellness providers to consumers with products and solutions that are really going to enhance their lives. So prior to starting my first agency in 2011, I did get my Bachelor's of Science in Marketing from the W.P. Carey School at ASU and was the marketing director for one of the largest physical therapy companies here in Arizona, launching their social strategy in 2008 and really all of their digital channels. So since then, Radiant has helped launch health tech startups. We've helped create new growth for mature medical practices. And now more recently, we've really helped our clients transition from exclusively offering offline solutions to considering and expanding into some more virtual and online offerings. So we're going to talk about a lot of this today and how you can apply what we've done for our clients for the last 10 years to your practice as well. So let's dive right in. So on today's webinar, we want to first talk about establishing the right mindset for your marketing and growth, attracting and engaging new clients, digital marketing best practices, inspiring and driving action, specific recommendations for virtual offerings, aligning with various partners for growth, and then we'll close with a Q&A. So to open with a slightly scary statistic here, but according to Yelp data, permanent closures have reached nearly 98,000 businesses, representing 60% of the businesses that had marked themselves as temporarily closed due to COVID that won't be reopening. And the reason we bring this up is really just to say, don't be a statistic. There are a lot of steps you can take to prevent this from happening, and we're going to cover some of those here today. And looking at the state of business, video conferencing, as we all know, has taken over. Zoos are offering virtual field trips, companies have created virtual vacations, and social platforms have released numerous features to support businesses, including gift card options, shopping, virtual appointment making, and so much more. And really, I point this out to say innovation is exploding. Virtual offerings are opening the door to connections and reach that wasn't available before. And new solutions are really expanding the possibilities and introducing customers to entirely new consumer experiences, which is very exciting for businesses. So to start this section off with a quote, focusing on the known gets you the known, focusing on the unknown gets you possibility. And really that's what we want to stress here first, is that growth and abundance mindset really helps you transform the opportunities that lie in front of you. So you want to establish the right mindset first before you dive into your marketing and business growth. And you probably see that you teach this in your health practice as well. Every positive change starts with the right mindset. So realities can be easy or harsh. And the beauty of the human mind is that we get to decide what we think of these realities. So we can choose to think the sky is falling down, or that it's an opportunity for us to redefine how we conduct our business, how we operate, what products, offerings, and services we bring to market. So a few key components to establishing the right mindset from a marketing and business standpoint include being creative. So right now we're living in some very unique times. Things are not going to be the same as they always have been. And as much bad as COVID has brought, it's also brought innovation and creativity and new solutions that may not have ever been available to us otherwise. So right now, I really challenge you to think beyond how you've traditionally done things and imagine the future, and really imagine your dream scenario for your practice. What did you want your practice to look like when you first started? Who did you want to be treating, and how did you want to be interacting with patients long term? You know, thinking about how you can reshape the things you dislike about your business. Maybe you dislike the audience niche you found yourself in and really want to focus more on a different demographic. Or maybe you want to focus on how can you do more of what you love. Maybe gut health is a passion of yours and you've been focused more on overall health. So how can you make some shifts to make that a reality? Or how can you have a greater impact? Is there anything that you're seeing repeatedly that, if resolved, could solve so many other problems that your clients are experiencing? And I like to relate this to an organization I got involved with about 5 years ago. It's called Charity Water, and they provide clean water to rural areas that would otherwise have the most disgusting, undrinkable water you could imagine. And in doing this and providing that clean water, they're eliminating so many issues later on down the road, you know, especially medical issues. So I love being a part of something like that that's really addressing the root cause of so many other conditions and challenges. So is there anything that you can apply to your practice or specialty that would have that same sort of impact? And then I challenge you to think even bigger. How can you possibly transform your vertical? How can you shift existing paradigms and perspectives about how clients should engage with you, or the types of services you offer? Are there things that you're doing just because this is how everyone's always done it? And that maybe there's some really great opportunities for you to make some changes there and be more innovative. You know, I think of companies like Tufted Needle that really transformed the mattress buying experience, or any of those meal ingredient box services that transformed how we shop for groceries or plan for meals, all things that didn't exist a couple of years ago that are so mainstream and normal now that you're like, why weren't we thinking of this before? So what could it be for your specialty or service? Really ask yourself some of these challenging, tough questions now to get more creative and expand your business and see new opportunity. Respond rapidly and plan ahead, both in practice and in marketing. Do your best to plan ahead and reevaluate your approach daily. I think in some ways, now is not the time to be perfect, as you know, most times aren't to be perfect. It's more about getting things done and moving forward. But I think even more so now, consumers are forgiving of brands and really looking to brands to be decisive and communicative and be proactive so that you can create that trust and educate your audiences. Get scrappy and be efficient. So this has always been a theme of ours. We work with small businesses with small budgets, so we're consistently seeing how we can be as effective with, you know, as few resources as possible. But right now, especially, you know, reevaluate your costs and make sure you're running as agile and streamlined as possible. A lot of times when we come into businesses, we'll find they have a couple of tools that overlap, and they can easily get rid of one, or they're not using things that they subscribed to years ago. So a lot of services right now too are offering their customers to pause memberships for extended periods of time. So if you're not using something right now, but you don't want to completely cancel, that might be an option as well. But evaluate those tools and platforms and make sure that you only have what you absolutely need. And of course, going and operating virtually presents some unique opportunities to save costs as well. So when you're considering this shift, maybe looking at some of those physical costs that you have, and if those are necessary anymore. And then last would be staying client obsessed. As always, this is about your clients. When you keep their best interests, goals, and future front of mind, the rest more naturally and organically falls into place. And I really like to stress this when it comes to marketing, because a lot of entrepreneurs don't like marketing, they don't like sales, they have that icky feeling when that topic comes up. And I think it's so important to stay focused on the fact that if you aren't marketing the right way, if you're not connecting with consumers to provide them information about your services, then you're really doing them a disservice, because you know that what you're providing them is going to elevate their lives. So you want to make sure you're getting that in front of them. So keep that in mind as you push forward with your marketing as well. And then open up ways for clients to communicate with you about their fears, hesitations, and needs so that you may best address and serve them. So you could do this through things like surveys. SurveyMonkey is a tool that has free resources to create surveys, forms on your website, or even just simple outreach emails to existing clients, and have a few pre-crafted questions to get to the bottom of some of these types of questions, so you can start to better understand these aspects of their lives and provide them with valuable resources. So moving to attracting and engaging new clients. So now that you're in the right mindset and we've recommitted to our focus on serving our clients, how do we get more of them? And you might be asking, where are these guys and what do they need? And if you're struggling to book yourself out, it's definitely common to think that it's because the need has dropped. But right now, the statistics are actually showing the opposite, which we'll touch on in a second. If anything, the need for wellness services have increased. We just need to think about how we reach them a little bit differently than we traditionally have. A lot of health and healthcare verticals have been traditionally so referral based, which is great, and you definitely want to look at ways to lean into this. But you also want to explore some new avenues that we'll touch on in this conversation. But now more than ever, there's an opportunity to reach new audiences seeking the wellness solutions that you offer. According to Healthline, which reaches 90 million unique visitors each month, searches for content related to immunity boosting, weight loss, diet and exercise, at-home cooking, and ingredient substitutions, as well as condition areas like sleep and anxiety, have seen a 15+% lift in activity since pre-COVID. So that's a very exciting statistic to me, because that's showing a bigger shift than just the current pandemic. It's showing a shift in consumer behavior about wellness in general. And I think a lot of these changes are here to stay. So that's an exciting change for the health and wellness community. A few more statistics here is looking at, really all generations are going online to find information. And most of these generations are still seeing a lot of value in health influencers online, whether they're millennials, Gen Z, or Gen X. 44% of people with health conditions value the influencers for information supported to these conditions. So again, they're seeking out answers to their questions, and they're leaning on health influencers for those answers. And then YouTube and Twitter are still the primary platforms for health condition searches for millennials. And the reason I include this statistic is more just to point out the idea of how important it is to understand what audience you want to be reaching, because that's really going to help you determine which channels you should be using. But again, looking at Gen X as most interested in condition-specific content, nutrition, and alternative approaches, whereas millennials were more interested in fitness and mental health content. So know your audience, and from there you can kind of build out your digital strategy. So the point of this is really to say, be that credible, helpful health influencer. You have the experience, expertise, and resources to help educate all of these generations in the best way possible. And we don't want to let them turn to inaccurate or misrepresented information from quote unquote influencers who aren't experienced in this domain. We don't want them going to Kim Kardashian for information on their gut health. We want them going to you. So in order to do that, you've got to go virtual with your valuable, relevant content. So if you're just getting started, you might not be having as many client sessions, but I know there's lots of really great ideas mulling around in your brain. But if you are having client sessions, you're sharing incredible value in each of those sessions. And I'm suggesting that you take that incredible value and you translate that into an online conversation or virtual content. So really starting by understanding consumer needs and creating content to address those needs and answer those questions relevant to your brand online. So we're seeing, like I said, this incredible shift in consumer behavior where consumers are actively seeking ways to prevent illness versus just treat symptoms. Individuals are educating themselves on ways to improve their overall wellness and play an active role or proactive role in their health. So beyond just simply filling the prescriptions they're traditionally given at a doctor's visit, they're actually seeking out ways to be more proactive. And when you're looking at sharing your content, or those client, those um, those conversations that clients are privy to right now, a lot of times people are asking, isn't that the same as giving away your services or solutions for free? And to some degree it is, but even if you were to give absolutely everything away and a piece of content online that you're giving to clients that are paying, you're still going to see consumer behavior predicts that consumer is going to move to the next stage of reaching out and potentially becoming a client. So they're first looking for this type of content to help validate that you are a credible authority in this space, and then use that information to make the decision to move forward. So I strongly encourage you to step away from the fear of thinking you'll be giving stuff away for free and that's going to prevent growth. If anything, that's going to expand business. So align consumer needs with your specialties to create a strategy that is successful and sustainable. In addition to this, the channels you're using is very important, but using that feedback and questions from your existing clients around the topics you talk with them about and the services you offer to create this types of content. And then commit to what's reasonable for you to be consistent. So don't be overly ambitious and start with way too much so that you're just going to burn out and get frustrated in 2 months. Really, the key is consistency. And if that means multiple posts and content a week, or if that means weekly, or if that just means twice a week with some really great long form content, we really just focus on what's realistic for you so that you can consistently deliver value to your audiences. So some ideas here. We encourage you to carve out, say, 30 to 45 minutes and just start writing down all of the questions you regularly get from prospects and clients. So this could transform into those FAQs, but looking at those as opportunities to create longer form content like blog posts. So what should I look for when I'm seeking a nutritionist? Or what's the first thing you recommend to start healing your gut? Or should I try intermittent fasting? Or what are common culprits for XYZ, bad sleep, fatigue, digestive issues? So these are all things that are going to need a little bit more space for you to deliver the content and value they need to answer those questions. So those are perfect ways to create content that you're already sharing with your clients and information you already know. Health tips would be shorter form, more bite-sized pieces that are perfect for Instagram and Facebook stories if you're comfortable with video, or posts and tweets if you're more comfortable with written content. But really the point with these is it's more bite-sized pieces of valuable content, like best ways to start your morning, quick ways to relieve anxiety, supplements that you might recommend. Those are great for those shorter form videos and posts. And then how-tos. So this is a perfect place to translate that content into longer form videos, like with YouTube or IGTV. Currently, IGTV has a 10-minute limit, so you've got plenty of time there to share some how-to videos, like reading food labels, shopping for and selecting the right types of pasta or veggies or whatever the specific food item is, sauteing veggies without losing nutritional value. So giving them these how-to kind of guides to walk them through some common topics that you're, again, addressing in your client sessions, or is a topic that you're just really passionate about and want to own that conversation. So we pulled a few examples here from Parsley Health, which is an integrative functional practice throughout the country. So you've got here box breathing on the left, which is a how-to video on box breathing. You've got Ask Dr. Robin, what is the best way to boost your metabolism? So again, this is an FAQ type post that they've done delivered in a video format, which is perfectly fine, if not a great way to do that if you are comfortable on video like Dr. Robin is. And then you've got your long form written content, everything you need to know about elimination diets. So these are just some examples, and they're a great resource to get ideas from as well. They do a really good job marketing. But if you're just getting started or you're kind of feeling a lull in ideas, there also are some tools you can turn to get some ideas of what that search landscape looks like right now, what topics are trending with consumers. So this example I'm showing you is called Exploding Topics, explodingtopics.com, and it gives you different categories of topics, and you can see, what's kind of dropping off in conversation, what's sort of, stabilized, and where are there some exploding trends that I might be able to get at the forefront of and own those conversations. So we did the health topic, and you can see here some subtopics within that: gut health, gut biome, intermittent fasting, all topics that people are actively seeking and more so as time progresses. So great areas to start kind of looking at where you can focus your content. Google Trends is another example, searching for a topic or a term, and then it gives you tons of information around that term. They do have a COVID-specific resource, which could be helpful for you too, if you are producing some content on COVID, and the search activity around different symptoms and different areas that are, there's definitely some variance state by state and the different interests around COVID. So that's a great resource to turn to look at some of those things. But then you have your general search. So this example here with related topics, we did a supplements as the search, and then it gives you obviously information on supplements, but then it also shows you some related topics, which again can kind of spur some additional thought on ways you can expand your content around a core topic. So you've got supplements as your core topic, and then you kind of got all these subtopics you can write about as well, but really maintaining the conversation around supplements as in this example. And then, of course, VitaQuant has some really great resources as well. They've got the articles that are available to everyone on their website that have great content on, products, ingredients, and other health-related topics that you're more than welcome to reshare or reference in your content. And then if you are an InCircle practitioner, they have what's called their practitioner portal, which gives you access to product information, ingredient research, condition protocols, tons of great information there, as well as even social graphics that you can download and use on your own social channels. So take the time right now, especially if you're a little bit slower, to make sure that you're setting yourself up for success with these online platforms and content. So set a solid foundation to ensure the best results. And one of the best ways to do that is to turn to some best practices with digital marketing. So a few things to review here. Going to your website. Is your website what we consider sales ready? So does it have those essential fundamental elements necessary to generate business for you? It doesn't have to be big and fancy. It can be created through Wix or Squarespace or WordPress. And if anything, the simpler, the better. But are there forms for visitors to submit? Is your contact information readily, easily available? Is it clear and concise about the details of the benefits or the outcomes of what you're offering? And are there client stories that you showcase to really show that social proof and build your credibility? So I encourage you to carve out some time this week or next to really take a look at your website with a critical eye to ensure that it meets these foundational elements and criteria to be considered sales ready, but also take a peek at your content. Because one of the most common mistakes that businesses make is that they're creating their content about themselves and their own business and their brand. And while there's certain places on your website that this is important, the biggest, most important focus is about your client. So is your content all about you, or is it all about them? Keeping your client at the center of your story and the spotlight of your content is critical to creating that emotional connection when they get to your site. So take a look at that and really identify if there's some opportunities for you to improve that there. And then selecting the social platform. So we touched on this a little bit. Knowing your audience is going to help. And of course, where your clients are and your prospects are is important. But it's also important when you're running your own marketing to really commit to a platform and content formats that you're comfortable with and can sustain. So if you absolutely hate creating video, then don't focus on that right now. If you've never in your life used Twitter, then you don't need to start there. Really identify your strengths and align that with where your audience is and get going. We don't want fear to hold you back. We really want you to just start trying things and get started so that you can build and grow as you see the results of your efforts and become more confident in what you're doing. And also, with the new tools available through a lot of these social platforms, you can really start to think of your social platforms as a place to directly convert people as well. So looking at your profiles and how they're set up, are you taking advantage of all the features that are available to you? Instagram, especially over the last 2 to 3 months, has launched a ton of new features for small businesses. So just kind of exploring those. Later.com is a great resource to kind of stay up to date on the changing landscape of Instagram and Facebook, as well as other social platforms. They're actually a scheduling tool too. So if you are looking for a scheduling tool for content for your social, Later.com is a great solution for that, and fairly inexpensive. And I think they might actually have a free option as well. So if you are creating content but struggling to get it posted, a scheduling tool might be helpful for you. And then amplify the message with email and ads. So once you're creating this great, valuable content, you want to make sure that you're not just posting it in one place, but that you're sharing it across all of your channels with as many contacts as you can. So share that content in an email, direct them to the blog post or social post for more information. Encourage your existing clients to share this content with their family and friends and networks. So make sure you're including specific calls to action in these emails, evaluating the goal of the email to make sure those calls to action align. And then looking at the option of running some small ads on social platforms. So this is a great way to have a big impact on a small budget. But if you, or when you get to this step, I encourage you to look at ways to make sure that these ads kind of more directly connect with revenue producing results, so that you can continue to invest in and grow your ad budget as you drive revenue from those ads. But it's a great way to target specific audiences. So once you have that defined, you're able to use Facebook advertising to really narrow down the audience you want to reach with your messages, and ensure that you're getting in front of them. So inspire and drive action with specific solutions. A few more statistics to share with you here. 59% of Americans had a health-related need they'd normally visit a provider for while sheltering in place. And this included a broad range of concerns like checkups, prescription refills, dental and mental health needs, follow-up appointments, new injuries, a ton of things. But 37% of them were forced to reschedule or postpone it to in-person appointments, while 33% of them used telemedicine. And of those 33%, 85% said it was the first time they tried telemedicine, which is exciting because, again, it shows that consumers are willing and open to try new things right now. And many of them are also learning and adjusting. And so to me, this is just really a great opportunity for brands to kind of jump on the bandwagon and start trying new things as well. Like I said, I think consumers are a little more forgiving of brands that might make a few missteps if they're showing that they're trying to connect with consumers where they are and really meet their needs. An interesting statistic that we saw too was CMS reported the use of telehealth skyrocketed during the pandemic. There was an average of 13,000 telehealth visits per week prior to the pandemic, but in the last week of April alone, almost 1.7 million Medicare beneficiaries had a telehealth visit. So just an incredible amount of growth there. So again, it just shows this is the space you want to be, whether it's telemedicine specifically or just virtual in general. Consumers are definitely open to these types of solutions. So many of the patients still opted for in-person care by going to a doctor's office or visiting a hospital urgent care center, but 19%, and I think this is probably really where that wellness focus is, 19% handled, quote unquote, handled their healthcare on their own. So explore the opportunities in these statistics and behavior. And for example, looking at this 19% that handled their own healthcare, consider where they're going to support that. You know, what resources are they turning to online, and are they finding your resources? So we want to make sure that you are getting involved in the conversation and engaging with these information and solution seekers. We know that people are heavily searching for wellness solutions, and we also know that they're open to virtual solutions. So if you're not creating content to attract them and own these conversations that you really want to own, you're really missing some big opportunities. And if you're only offering in-person services, again, you're missing some huge opportunities. So it's time right now to go virtual with your services and solutions. And here are a few effective ways to do this. So of course, first and foremost is offering those virtual consults and or sessions. And before you do this, or you're considering a telemedicine experience, it's important to think about consumers' perceptions or past experiences with telehealth and telemedicine so that you can avoid any of these cons and really focus on the pros, the convenience, saving time, the possibility of it being more personal. You know, it does say here that some say it's more impersonal. So again, how can you prevent your telehealth or virtual sessions from being impersonal and really making those personalized and avoiding these cons? So for some of you, adding this option could be as simple as including a FaceTime or phone type of consultation in your consult forms or options. But for some of you, it might be a little bit more complex, and you might need something more sophisticated like a HIPAA compliant solution. And there are a ton of these out there. One of the most popular is eVisit, although it's going to be, I think their starting rate is about $500 a month, so it's certainly pricey. But these are some options to consider. And again, there's lots of other ones out there to have a HIPAA compliant solution. And we did get a question about reimbursement. So I included this link in here. As we, as an agency, don't manage this specifically, there are a lot of solutions out there to kind of evaluate the factors that influence reimbursement. And eVisit has this resource that is super helpful in looking at the use cases, locations, and CPT codes that are covered in telehealth. However, something to consider too, I don't know if you guys remember, but a couple months back, Trump did sign the executive order on improving rural and telehealth services that expanded coverage for a number of telehealth services. So if things you're offering weren't previously reimbursable, there's a good possibility that they are now. So definitely explore that. If you've explored it before and thought it wasn't an option, look into that to see if your services might be covered now. Second recommendation is creating a community. So depending on your goals, you might want to offer or consider creating more of an interactive space for existing clients or prospects to engage, ask questions, refer family and friends. And a great way to quickly and easily do this without having to set up a new software, pay for a new solution, is by leveraging Facebook's group features. So you can create a closed group or a private group or a public group. So depending on your goals, that's really what you want to establish first. What are you trying to accomplish with this? You would set these up one way or the other. So here we have an example. The Thrive community is a private group for SCI patients, spinal cord injury patients, that was created by a pharmaceutical company that wanted to engage and start conversation in a more private setting for SCI patients. And then it also gives them an opportunity through their advocates in the group, as well as their own posting, to share their products and resources with this community. And then we also have an example here. A lot of fitness facilities started doing this, but you can have a closed group that's a paid offering, so a revenue generator for you, because you've got some exclusive inclusions within that group. So you've got a daily workout, or you've got some very high value sessions and how-to type videos or live events going on in there. So looking at, again, those closed groups and those exclusive inclusions as a way to start generating some revenue and charging for those types of events in your community as well. So looking at, do you really just want to add value to existing clients and in that, generate some referrals, or do you want to consider this as a possible revenue generator first to determine how you're going to set this up and what types of content you're going to include in it? And then the third recommendation, creating a tiny offer. It sounds so cute, right? This is what we recommend because it's so much less intimidating than looking at, transferring a huge, giant offline program into a virtual offering. A tiny offer is something that you can easily create from what you already know and do and offer as a virtual solution for clients. So most often this comes in the form of a download or could also be in the form of like a mini series of videos. A tiny offer from a price point is typically around like $29 to $49, but of course, it really depends on the value you're including within that. So first, looking to, when creating your tiny offers, what are some of the big questions you repeatedly get from clients, and seeing those as opportunities to translate into a virtual offering. You think about those questions that you get on a regular basis and that you're a lot of times answering for them in the services you're providing. So again, they're paying for these answers. How can you translate those answers into a more formalized offering? For example, we're in the process of creating a Gut Health 101 program for our integrative medicine client. And this is something that they'll push out to new and existing clients, but anyone can benefit from it. And most of their clients that go through their program have these same types of questions and are starting at the same place when it comes to gut health. So this was a no-brainer offering for them to put this series of videos together to kind of walk them through that online. And then thinking of those breakthrough client moments as, again, opportunities to translate those journeys into virtual journeys and virtual offerings. So another example, one of our clients has helped a few of their clients reverse diabetes, which is just absolutely incredible. So they're considering how can they transform that patient journey into a virtual journey, walking the patient through the same steps they would in that one-to-one in-person experience in an online experience. So that example is probably going to be bigger than a tiny offer, but hopefully these ideas are kind of getting your wheels spinning about different things that you can do with the content and the conversations you own. So next would be aligning with partners to increase exposure and revenue. So depending on, I think many of us are seeing right now that individuals and communities are uniting in support of one another and keeping that expansive mindset. Look to the network and even competitors that you're currently aware of and recognize if there's any opportunity for you to take advantage of. And depending on the nature of the partnership, these partners could present opportunities to co-market and lean on one another's communities or networks, and possibly opportunities to earn commissions. So looking first to referral partners, aligning with companies that complement your offerings and values. So this is probably, most commonly going to be different recommendations that you make to clients, resources that you're sending them to either download or purchase or sign up for that complement what you're doing. We encourage you to explore if there's any affiliate type partnerships with those companies. So a couple of examples are Daily Harvest. They offer a client discount as well as an affiliate fee for anyone you send their way. Lumen is another great example, a metabolism tool. So this one offers client discounts and an affiliate fee for contacts you send their way that sign up or purchase. And then of course, VitaQuant, they have their InCircle practitioners. So you're able to give your clients access to savings on their pure active high potency supplements, and you can earn commissions on the supplements purchased using your practitioner code. They also have an embed code that you can easily get on your website to direct to their shop site. So even if it's people that you may not be aware of that are going to your website, clicking on that button and going to the shop, it'll automatically connect back those sales to your account, and you'll get the commissions on those purchases as well. And I was actually chatting with Elizabeth earlier, and she mentioned that some of their practitioners are earning between $700 to $800 a month in commissions income, which is pretty significant. So something to think about there. And then co-marketing opportunities. So this would be something where you might have contacts in your network that have similar audiences to you, and again, complementary services. So leaning on these contacts to collaborate and co-market. An example of this, our integrative nutritionist has a 10-day reset program that she offers, and she's partnered with a local chef to provide pre-made meals. And in this upcoming program, she's actually offering the pre-made meals as well as those ingredient packages. So a couple of different options there that they're collaborating on, and then they're both co-marketing and pushing this information out to their audiences. So at least doubling the reach that she would have got if she wasn't including Celine in her program. The French Girl Detox is another example. So you've got the supplement package from VitaQuant that complements really nicely with like a detox or meal plan from practitioners. So that's another example of ways to kind of collaborate. And then also just looking at the opportunity of joining telehealth networks. So this would quickly increase your exposure and appointments if you become a provider on these sites. A lot of them are geared more towards physicians and nurses, but many are looking at more integrative and total wellness services. So this is another option to consider to kind of quickly get direct access to new clients. So in summary, start with an expansive, opportunistic mindset. Identify ways you can think differently about your business and even your industry as a whole or your vertical. Identify what your clients and prospects need most from you, and then be that credible, valuable resource through virtual content. Apply the best practices that we reviewed and set realistic expectations of yourself. I can't stress this enough. This is where people just get stuck and either get started and burn out, or don't get started. So be as realistic as possible and be as kind as possible to yourself as you're planning this. And then ensure that you have the virtual offerings, of course, that your clients need to take that next step and get started with you. And this could include some of the recommendations we had, the virtual appointments and consults, creating these online communities, offering tiny offers, and co-marketing and commission partners. So before we jump to the Q&A, I know Elizabeth wanted to talk a moment about some of this limited time special that we're running.
Yes, so for everyone who is on the webinar today, through tomorrow, you can get 25% off your purchase on the feedaquantusa.com website using the code virtual25, because we'd love to have you try our products for yourself, and you can see, taste and smell the difference in the freshness of our supplements. And I also wanted to just say that we would love to have additional practitioners on board. We are committed to the practitioner model. We believe that people should be receiving guidance on supplements. And we're also committed to educating our practitioners and creating tools to help expand their recommendations of our products, and also obviously expand their business. So if you have any interest in meeting with us to talk about becoming a practitioner, you can either visit our website using the URL listed here, or you can just reach out and send me an email at elizabeth@steinerlab.com. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Elizabeth. And then if we have any questions, you drop your questions in the chat, and we're happy to answer anything that we may not have covered today. And also, these slides won't be going out in an email, but if you do want them, then please feel free to email Elizabeth@steinerlab.com, and she can send a copy of these as well. So, and just a note on that, write this code down right now or email her, because again, these slides aren't going out. So request the slides if you want that, or if you want any of the information in here, but we're happy to answer any other questions right now too, if those have come through.
Yeah, so Karen, we do actually have a couple of questions. One is, what is the best way to reach out to potential partners if I don't know someone personally?
So it depends on the partner. A lot of the larger companies, like the ones we mentioned, Lumen and Daily Harvest, have more formal processes for signing up as affiliates. So I would first, check out their website to see if there's actually a dedicated page to that process. But then if it's a smaller company or a single service provider, I would recommend just sending an initial introduction email, kind of presenting the opportunity you have in mind, and of course looking at it as a win-win for both of you. So depending on what you're thinking, if you're looking at something like the nutritionist plus the chef, I think that right now, like I said, everyone is everyone in general, consumers and businesses, are wanting to support small businesses, but I think small business to small business, especially, you're seeing that new level of community, which is so exciting. So if you're presenting them with an opportunity that's also going to benefit them, I would definitely outline that in the outreach email and say, hey, here's my idea. Here's how you could benefit from that. I'm going to post this on my social channels. I'm going to send it out to my email database. I'm going to do XYZ to support you as well. So again, I think in a lot of cases it would be a no-brainer for small businesses right now.
Perfect. And then we have two questions that are actually kind of tied together related to content. So one is, how much content do I really need to generate to stay relevant and fresh? And then the other question, which relates to it, is, how do I get my content found cost effectively?
Okay, so of course, I think the quantity question comes up so often, and I think the bigger point to stress is the quality of the content. Although I would still stress at a minimum sharing a really high value piece of content at least monthly. So I know I follow an SEO guru, so a search engine optimization guy, who focuses on creating content to show in search engines. And he typically only pushes out one piece of content a month, but it's a very comprehensive, thorough guide on a specific topic. So that's very effective for him, both from a search visibility, so the question of how do I get my content found, but also a value standpoint. So he's not producing tons of content every month. He's producing one piece of content, but it's the most comprehensive piece of content on this specific topic. So when you get that email in your inbox, you're like, ooh, what's this going to be? And it's just a great piece of content, and you're getting it one time a month. So The quantity isn't as important as the quality, but I would still obviously recommend that you're getting in front of your audience on a consistent basis. So if the most you can do is monthly, then I think monthly from a blogging standpoint is great. But I do encourage you to, stay a little bit more active on social if you're able to, because that is where a lot of the conversation is happening, and it is another great way to get that content found. So looking at, I know hashtags have been around forever, but there's still an effective way to get into conversations that are trending and that people are talking about. So including the right hashtags in your content on social is important in getting found as well. And it's free. You're just posting that hashtag with your post. So when you're looking at hashtags, we typically recommend evaluating conversations or including conversations or hashtags that are not overwhelmingly popular. So say you use the hashtag health. If you looked at health on Instagram, there's going to be 500 million posts. So your chances of showing for that are going to be slim, and it's not very targeted. So how can you kind of narrow that down to a niche that's more specific to what you're offering, but there's still enough kind of conversation going on that someone might search for that and see your content. So that might be something that's like gut health, or specifically like with FitoQuant, they might use like a supplement name or an ingredient like fish oil. So looking at hashtags as a way to increase visibility inexpensively on social.
Great. And then the last question we have right now is, which platform do you suggest when offering an online short program with a set price?
Which platform do we suggest for when offering an online program with a small price? So it depends. I'm assuming since they said program that they are meaning more of like a course. There's a few platforms you might want to consider for that, like Teachable or Thinkific are two resources or platforms for more of like the program-based stuff. So like if you're delivering content over a 4-week program, those two programs or those two software solutions are good ones to consider. And that's just Thinkific, Thinkific, or Teachable. And there's a few other ones, and I'm happy to send a list too. But from like a download standpoint, so if you're offering something or it's just a series of videos that they have access to through a private list on your YouTube, I mean, you can certainly do things on a no cost scale like that. So having something on your website with a PayPal integration, and then deliver the email with the unlisted playlist link on YouTube where they get access to those videos. So it doesn't have to be some big robust platform that you're using. If you want to just try to get it up and running and see if there's a need or a market for this offering, and push it out there, and then test and iterate and optimize from there. I hope that
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I hope so too. Okay, good. Yes. Everyone's happy with answers. So if there are no more questions, then I just want to say thank you very much to everyone. Don't forget your virtual 25. It's only good through tomorrow. And please reach out to me, Elizabeth at steinerlab.com, if you have any questions. And I hope you found today's a valuable investment of your time.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Elizabeth.
And thank you, Karen. You were awesome.
You're welcome.
All right. All right. Have a good day, everyone.